questions to this particular investigation. Deputy Chief Paul Bastien will commence.
Thanks, Sebastian. There's a mic, this mic here. Can we just move that out of the, not sure whose this is. Actually, it's XFM, is it? Just want to be able to. Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Sorry to keep you waiting. We just wanted to provide you a brief update on the investigation that's been going on since the 24th of January. From the outset of this incident, our priority has been community safety. Since the initial trespassing arrest on the Western University campus on the 24th, and the preliminary investigation that immediately followed it, we have been deliberate and methodical in our approach to securing the scene, containing all identified hazards, and assessing the risk posed to nearby residents. The risk to the public has been and is controlled. We continually assess the situation closely, and we set very low thresholds for escalating protective measures that might be necessary to mitigate risk posed by items inside the scene or by their handling or removal. Our incident commanders and specialized units, consisting of, to name a few, detectives in the Criminal Investigation Division, technicians in our Explosives Disposal Unit, forensic identification specialists, analysts in video and digital forensics, have worked tirelessly to assess, stabilize, and safely process a complex investigative environment involving hazardous materials, firearms, and firearms-related materials. This has been a complex, multi-jurisdictional investigation. Evidence uncovered here at the scene ultimately led investigators to execute search warrants at residences in the city of Ottawa and in Gatineau, Quebec. The expansion into those communities reflects the thoroughness and diligence of the officers conducting this investigation, not necessarily any new or heightened public danger. Investigative decision-making has been and will continue to be informed by evidence. Informed by evidence as it is uncovered, as it is processed, and as it is assessed in the context of what we already know. I want to highlight the command-level engagement that has underpinned this work. Since the morning of January 24th, I have been engaged at the command level, as has the chief, and over the past several days, the chief and I, along with other senior commanders of the London Police Service, have been in contact with our counterparts at RCMP Central Region and the OPP Provincial Operations Intelligence Bureau. The purpose of our engagement is to share information, align operational needs, and ensure that every agency with relevant expertise is consulted and is provided with an opportunity to contribute effectively. That collaboration is marked by trust, professionalism, and open communication. It is vital, and it will continue throughout this investigation. To be clear, the London Police Service is and remains the lead agency in this investigation, one that we continue to perform with the support of our partners across the region and the province. I want the community to know that I have tremendous confidence in the leadership of this organization and in the officers and civilian professionals who have been performing the line-level duties that drive the investigation forward. Their expertise, discipline, and commitment to community safety have been evident in their decision-making and in their management of the safety hazards. I'm also grateful for the support of numerous community partners who've contributed to the efforts in and around the search scene. Detective Superintendent Travis may speak more about those specifically. We also recognize that residents in the area of Chesham Place have experienced disruptions over the past 2 weeks. To those people, I want to say that their patience, your patience, has allowed our teams to work safely and effectively, and for that, I thank you. You will continue to see police presence as specialized examinations continue. That presence should be understood as investigative due diligence, not ongoing danger. Our priorities are to keep this community safe, to investigate thoroughly, to collaborate at every level, and to communicate responsibly. Detective Superintendent Travis will now provide a high-level investigative update, share what we can responsibly release at this stage, and take some questions. As always, we must balance transparency with our obligation to protect the integrity of court proceedings and the safety of everyone involved.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Chief Bastine. As stated before, I'm Detective Superintendent Sean Travis, and have been heavily engaged in the command of this investigation from the criminal investigations perspective. Since speaking to the media a little under 2 weeks ago, I'm here to provide some investigative updates within the limits of what I'm allowed to share while protecting the investigation. So approximately 2 weeks ago, we shared a update regarding an evolving investigation that involved a break and enter on the campus of the Western Ontario University. Just after midnight on January 24th, 2 males entered the Claudette McKay Lassonde Pavilion on Western University campus, and shortly after, the Western Special Constable Service was notified of a trespasser. That led to an arrest and a subsequent investigation where a male was arrested for break and enter, and a loaded firearm was located near his person. And that investigation then led us to the address on Chesham Place, where the media focus has been during the search for the past week. The subsequent investigation at Chesham Place, as we all know, led to the location of potential precursors and devices that cause greater concern for public safety, as well as the need for specialized investigation. Since that time, through collaboration of community partners, as well as the investigation, we've made that scene safe. We've added additional charges during that time. The further investigation that led down the road led us to Gatineau, and it led us to Ottawa, basically the sub-community of Orleans. So 130 Chancery Court in Orleans and 24 Rue de Fagnon, Gatineau, Quebec were both searched as a result of this investigation with information that had been learned. It led to the further location of firearms and explosives, or evidence of explosive manufacturing. So as a result, it furthered our evidence in that investigation. As a result, the adults that we've charged as a result of this investigation: Jerry Tong, 27, of Ottawa; Zikun Wang, 26, of London; Fei Han, 25, of London; and Fei Yang Ji, 21, of London, have been charged collectively with offenses of unlawful possession of explosives, several firearms-related offenses arising from the campus and the resident searches. All 4 still remain in custody, and we're still actively pursuing the investigation. As the Deputy Chief referred to, we've worked very collaboratively, which is normal in complex investigations such as this, and given the concerning subject matter of the investigation, to collaborate with members of the OPP, the RCMP, and basically any other agency that we feel is going to provide us the expertise and the investigative abilities that we need to further our investigation. We recognize there are going to be many questions that we'll do our best to answer within the limits without compromising the investigation. Public safety has been a priority, and we want to ensure the London community that that's been our primary focus. Many of the community partners involved in the search have now cleared the address on Chesham Place, as indicated. We will be continuing in the coming days, finishing up the search, and then anticipate to be clear in that area. Many of the agencies involved, which include City of London, Salvation Army, OPP, have all provided valuable and crucial support either in supporting our members in their job or helping us further the investigation. At this point, I'm happy to receive any questions unless there's anything else that needs to be added. Okay, so we'll start from the left of the room. Sir.
Sorry, are you aware of a video posted on YouTube by the suspect Tong, which is a Moore's, I think it's Moore's lab protocol of a sort of a truck-mounted system that would shoot drones out of the sky? And is this relevant to your investigation? Is that part of the charges that you charged?
So we are absolutely aware of the video on the internet. I believe it's been widely reported on in the media. It forms part of our investigation. The specifics of how it relates to the investigation and what we're able to derive from that video is something I'm just not able to comment on at this time as we work through it.
It sounds like Tong and two of the other suspects are pictured in that video. There's no doubt as to identity of the suspects, I guess. Is that, these are your people?
We believe that the posting name under the site that it was found under is absolutely in line with the name that we have in this media release. So as far as the three individuals involved, we can say it's related. We're aware of them. And definitely the individual, Jerry Tong, is the person we believe is related.
And the last follow-up question, what evidence do you have to support the manufactured firearm charge? And could that be, I think when we see that, we're thinking of a Glock or Smith & Wesson or a conventional firearm, but could a firearm under the criminal code be something like that, that prototype?
When you look at the criminal code specifically, manufacturing of a firearm or devices can include many components. It can include frames, receivers, barrels, any of the other components of a gun that could be milled, manufactured, or any other form. So I'm unable to comment on specifically what's been found or processes involved in that, but we wouldn't have laid the charge that we did before the courts without supporting evidence of that offense.
With respect to the guns seized in Ottawa, can you talk about the overall amount of guns seized in this investigation in Ottawa, in London, and whether these are pre-vintage ghost guns?
So we are still investigating both the number of firearms, the types of firearms, the registration status of those firearms. At this point, I can confirm there are several, but I won't be confirming at this point the restricted status or long gun status or any of the types of firearms seized. So that's still part of the investigation.
And Dale will move on to you.
Yep.
Thanks, Superintendent Travis. Regarding the guns and explosive materials seized in Gatineau and Orleans, can you provide more details? Was it the same precursors and high-finished explosives like here in London? And how many guns are you able to say?
So the search of the residences in Ottawa and Gatineau were subsequent through investigative details and facts. I'm not confirming that the same substances or what was located in each residence that support the investigation. It would compromise my investigation to say quantities, types, or precursors and get into those types of details, that those will have to be facts that come out at court. Once again, we wouldn't lay a charge on the criminal code of that nature without having the supportive expertise and testing required to confirm what the substances were.
Okay, and just to follow up then, will the firearms seized be sent for tracing, or would that not apply to the firearms seized in this case because maybe they were manufactured?
So standard any firearms investigation conducted by law enforcement, depending on both the status and the type of the weapon. Tracing, fate tracing, testing through CFS are all standard practices that are employed, including the legal registered status of such firearms.
Okay, so the first gun seized was sent for fate tracing then?
It will form the basis of the investigation to determine origin, if required.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to move to Rita first, and then we'll come back to you.
Was there ever a national security threat during this 2-week period, or is there still, because the RCMP is involved?
So what I can say, understandable from the community perspective. The details provided and the types of offenses that we're talking about are absolutely going to cause community concern. And we understand the focus of the media on those things. The motive, the intent, and the overall circumstances under which these were seized is still very much part of the investigation, and there's still much more information to go through before we're able to draw our conclusions. The use of experts in our community, especially the law enforcement community, is something that's common. It's actually expected. So deriving that it is a unique circumstance or increases the seriousness of it, I can understand the inference, but these consultations happen all the time, especially depending on the subject matter. And given that we're dealing with explosives, as we've talked about, we wouldn't lay that charge if it didn't exist. expertise behind the area, the manufacturer, the technical aspects of what we're investigating, reaching across the board to ensure that we're considering all aspects, including a national security threat down to, a post on YouTube about a hobbyist is all on the range of spectrum of our investigation. We haven't drawn any conclusions at this point, and that it would be premature to do so.
Okay, Beatrice?
Yes, hi, Detective. Did your investigation find any evidence that the accused sought or received permission or any authorization from university, regulator, or government body before working on this project?
So as we're still working through the residence and the search itself, it also forms part of our investigation to understand not only the provenance of the materials, the obtaining of the materials, and where they came from. It's unfortunately something I can't comment to at this time because of the stage we're at in the investigation.
Are all four of the accused here Canadian citizens, and if not, does that change anything that has to do with the court process, the investigation?
To answer the last part of your question first, changes in the court process, citizenship status does not apply to the decisions of the court. To apply to the first part of your question, what their status is, police, we're not allowed to comment to the citizenship status because of privacy reasons.
Okay, yep.
So you talked about how the two suspects were arrested on campus at the Claude McKay building. Can you confirm or provide more details about why they were there? Like, the speculation is that they were there to steal stuff or whatever the benches were. Can you provide any more details?
So the motive, the intent, the reason for being there still remains under investigation. The concern at the time and the charge that was laid of break and enter confirms that we believe they were there for a purpose that was illegal. The rest of it still remains under investigation.
And following up on that, there's been a lot of social media profiles floating around with their names, obviously it's been discussed. Neighbors have also said that they were from Western.
My apologies.
Neighbors have said that they were from Western, like they were former or current students. Can you confirm for us if the students were from Western or, yeah?
There's been much reporting about scholastic status regarding the accused individuals. Preliminary in this investigation, we can confirm that everyone involved in the group either has been and graduated as a member of Western University or is currently a student.
And then have there been communications with the university through all this process? What are those communications?
The University of Western is absolutely one of our partners that has been included in this investigation, 100%.
If I could just maybe just step in just for, not in relation to this question, sorry, Sean. I just heard a couple, I think it was Colin over here had a question earlier and Rita as well. I just want to maybe add from my perspective, sort of higher level, a little bit further removed from the investigation. The question I heard, there was a specific part I just want to make clear. I think your question, sir, was in relation to whether the specific offense or the specific charge relayed was in relation to the device that is sort of described in the YouTube video. So I just want to make clear that although we're aware of that video, it is part of the investigation. We have to track down, any assertions that are made by the people in it, and assess to what extent, if any, it relates to what we have evidence of, both from the activity of the individuals at the scene at Western and at Chesham Place and elsewhere. That all remains to be determined, but the specific charges in relation to the manufacturing of firearms is not related to a device that was described in the video. And then Rita, you had a question. I just wanted to sort of add color in a little bit of detail to with respect to national security. We, again, as I've mentioned, we are the lead agency, and we have well-established partnerships with other law enforcement agencies, including the OPP, and with respect to your national security question, the RCMP. We're a member of a joint forces operation with the OPP, Provincial Anti-Terrorism Section. We have, and have for several years, had officers assigned, seconded to that unit. We have continuous open lines of communication in that regard. with respect to the RCMP, we're not a member of any joint forces with them in the space of national security. However, we do have established lines of communication with the RCMP in Central Region to access when needed. And in this case, given the way the incident unfolded and the evidence that we collected in the early part and then in the days since, out of abundance of caution, we reach out to our partners, including the RCMP, because we know that, as Detective Superintendent Travis mentioned, we don't yet know necessarily what the ultimate goal was. We have a series of discrete criminal offenses which we allege, in our view, there's evidence of, but we don't, not knowing what the ultimate goal is or might have been or might be, we have to be abundantly cautious in ensuring that our approach through the investigation is deliberate, methodical, and includes the possibility that there is a national security or was a national security element to it. Certainly not the case. This isn't the case where we believe that to be the case. However, we need to be mindful of that we don't know what we don't know. Some of the devices seized, I won't get into details again, but when you think of devices capable of storing data, communications, or that kind of thing will be an important part of the investigation as well. So as we learn more, as we perform further analysis and assess the evidence, we'll have, it'll direct our investigation from there.
Sorry, just on that point, so at this point, just to clarify, we do not believe that there is a threat to national safety, no terrorism related, at this point in the investigation?
At this point in the investigation, we are not, this is not a terrorism investigation, this is not a national security investigation. This is, we have partnered with OPP and RCMP to ensure that they are informed, engaged, and have the opportunity to provide their expertise and input, subject to be continually reassessed as we go.
Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
get a few more details just on the original arrest on campus? Can you specify where, like they had already made their way into the building, or were they arrested attempting to get into the building? Did they successfully steal anything? And again, was it the two males in the building together at the same time, or only one was detected first and the other nearby, or what?
So one male was located departing the engineering building that matched the description, which resulted in the arrest.
Sorry, one male?
One male.
Okay,
And
so
then
where was the second male?
the further investigation led police to the address on Chesham Place, where a second male was taken into custody.
And then a third and a fourth, because there were 4 arrests total, weren't
So as the investigation unfolded and details within the residence and the further investigation substantiated charges against additional occupants of the residence.
Were they all arrested at the residence, those 3 other people, or were they in other locations?
The 3 were arrested at Chesham Place.
Okay, thank you. So we have 3 residences now, one in London, one in Ottawa, and one in Gatineau.
Correct.
Can you just clarify, were firearms discovered at all 3 residences?
So firearms-related charges have been laid into all 3 search warrants that were executed.
That didn't quite answer the question. Were actual firearms located inside those 3 residences?
Specifically, I'm answering that those search warrants resulted in evidence that laid firearms-related charges.
Oh, that's
So there were
questions
guns?
to Nasha.
Okay, and the explosive.
I'm sorry,
The explosive materials then were also found at all 3?
I'm not confirming our investigative details of what was located at each residence.
All right,
Oh,
Dale.
let's keep moving on. Inspector Travis, can you say whether, this might be for the deputy, can you say whether London police are opposing bail for the accused? I know sometimes that's something you guys relay to the Crown. Is that the case here, or
All 4 accused are currently before the courts awaiting a bail hearing.
do you guys recommend like opposing bail? I know you guys have done that in other cases.
In this case,
Yes.
we've worked with the Crown's Office to ensure timelines that allow us to thoroughly investigate. And we've been working with the MAG partners to ensure that all the facts that are available
Yeah.
need to be available for the bail hearing.
Sure, and this would be for the deputy. Deputy, can you just talk about the scope of the investigation, like how large it is and how it's compared to other investigations, resource-wise?
Sorry, that's from my perspective.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so resource-wise, in terms of the scope and the magnitude of it, it's a large investigation. It's one where we have resourced internally. We've also, again, as part of those discussions with our policing partners, turned to them not only for their expertise and their insight, but also to potentially partner with performing certain specialized tasks, not related to necessarily their mandates, security or anti-terrorism or national security, simply related to performing, again, analytical tasks and evidence processing. Won't get into specific numbers of resources, but as for anybody who has been at the scene, as we determine the scope or determine the extent to which the scene was potentially posed a threat to the immediate surrounding, we had to apply the sort of emergency management resources there. So the initial part included incident command, which included coordination with city partners in emergency management, EMS, fire, London Hydro, other services, just to coordinate in the event we had to scale up. So this is, again, without getting into specifics, it's a substantial investigation. It's one that's been, it's required that we look carefully to bring people from across the organization into supporting.
All right, and Rita?
Sorry, two questions. One, was there anyone inside the building when the accused were trespassing and notified the constables at Western? Because it happened before 2 a.m. in the morning.
So we were alerted by the occupant inside the building.
Okay, and then, for those of us who watched the video on YouTube and that was posted 3 months ago by Jerry Tong, it shows a 3D printer, it shows chemicals, it shows this unbelievable amount of content that, if found, could seem suspicious. Is there a chance these were hobbyists? And I'm just asking because these are some of the questions people have posed. But there was illegal or criminal activity also happening at the same time. Is there a chance this could have been a hobby?
So it'd be irresponsible to speculate on what could be or might be. Our investigation is going to be led by facts. What I can say is that the laying of charges under the criminal code is basically a statement by the London Police that we have reasonable grounds to believe or evidence to believe that the charges we've laid are offenses that have been committed. So a misunderstanding as an explanation of a hobby, obviously, whatever the interests of the people charged were, which still remains under investigation, criminal offenses were committed.
Okay, investigation, sorry. The 3D printer, there were reports that there were guns being manufactured. There's charges that these folks are facing. Are you able to tell us if there was a 3D printer and if those guns were manufactured inside any of the 3 residences that were found?
So that's a question that is both evidentiary in nature and intelligence in nature. It's beyond what I'm able to answer today, unfortunately.
And Colin?
Yeah, with respect to the chemicals, have you identified the specific chemicals and can speak to the nature of the specific chemicals that were seized, the explosives, to support the explosives charge?
So I think it's obvious that I'm not able to speak to specifics about what was located within the residence. What I can say is that our experts, in conjunction with many other community partner experts, have thoroughly searched the residences and documented what they found.
And could you say quantums, whether it's a milliliter, a liter, a gigaliter of chemicals? Like, I'm just wondering, speak to the volume and maybe the flask.
Once again, specific details that form part of the investigation.
Right, and I think what you mentioned is there was additional firearms charged out of Gatineau and Ottawa, but I don't think the information reflects that, or at least there was an information referring to gun found in car, gun concealed by person caught with restricted weapon. But are you going to swear more firearms offenses based off the searches, or are they encapsulated in the current iteration of the information?
It's still a matter of analysis as we're still gathering materials. We're still in the midst of completing a search at one of these residences. So unfortunately, I have to bear back on the responsibility I have to not provide inappropriate information that may compromise the investigation.
Could you quantify in any way the guns? Like, is it less than 5, more than 5, more than 10? Is, again,
I think I've been clear
Yeah.
that I'm not confirming those things.
With the residences in Ottawa and Gatineau, did Mr. Tong reside at either of those residences, or what is his connection to the two properties?
Well, we had grounds to believe that the residences were connected and possessed evidence. Mr. Tong's status of those residences, or any of the other 4 occupants' status of those residences, is not something I'm going to confirm from the investigative
Is there
perspective.
anything you can tell us about his connection to the other 3? How do they know each other?
What I can say is they all live in the same residence currently here on Chesham Place.
Oh, so he's from Ottawa but living here?
Sorry, my apologies. There could be some confusion around that. It appears that the 4 are heavily associated to the Chesham Place address. Getting into the specifics of who resides where and what their specific address and associations to the address is inappropriate from a privacy perspective for me to speak about or confirm.
Okay, I think it has been reported that 3 of them, not Tong, but the other 3 were living at the residence.
Okay.
But you're not gonna confirm or deny that? Yes.
Not today.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. If you have any additional questions, feel free to email them to me. We will be posting an update on our website in the upcoming portion of the day. And again, if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. Thank you again for coming out today.